Welcome to SolidCAM Professor. I'm Sydney, your SolidCAM Professor, with one of many recordings available to you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. In this session, we'll be showing you now how to measure in our X, Y, and Z direction. If I were to open up my probe operation, since I said I want to measure it, we choose the option of measure. Now, the main difference between home position and measuring is that in measurement we have to use now tolerances. What tolerances we want to work on when we measure the part. So before we actually go into measurement, let me show you something that we actually have in our settings. If I were to go into SolidCAM settings, we have the option over here of probe. In probe, we can put here the default settings that we want for our X, Y, Z. Our defaults we want for our distance measurements, for our diameter measurements, radius, and angles. All of them are over here, and the program will automatically be loaded with these defaults. Obviously, within each operation, you can change them as needed. So we'll start our new operation of probe using the option of measurement. Now what I'd like to do over here is measure the top area over here. This is the Z level, the X, and the Y. So first we'll start off with measuring a single point in the Z. Choosing a geometry, just like I've done in the past. And I want to measure in this area over here, so I'll click on that surface over there. I'll choose my tool, the probe itself as shown over here. We have our levels. Now let's go into our Tech 1 area over here. In our Tech area, as you can see, we have our preview window, and I advise everyone it's a good idea to get used to using our preview. So this way you can always see exactly what's happening on the part itself. We have our Z level. In this particular case, I'll just leave it at 0. And we also have another option over here of repetitive touches, where I can also touch off one time or two times, as many times as I want on that particular point. Now, in addition to our toolpath, since we're measuring, we also have another tab here called Parameters. If I were to open up the Parameters tab, you can see we have here only the options that we need for measuring our X, Y, and Z, and we have here only X, Y, and Z over here. As far as the minimum and maximum tolerances over here. We also have exactly how we want to have an output on the machine over here as well. And this actually comes from inside our machine ID, which I'll show you in a moment. Let's just do save and calculate and go do exit for a moment. I want to go back into our machine ID, and if we take a look at our control definition, you can see we have here probe. If I were to click on probe, you can see all the options that we need for using our probe in that on that machine. What kind of output we want on the machine itself. For example, if I were to click on cycle plate X, you can see here we have all the information we need for cycle plane X. Okay, let's close this now, and let's go back into the operation itself. Since we did our single point Z, now I'd like to do our X. So simply click on Save and Copy. I'll choose the X option, and again I'll create a new geometry. Click on New, and I'll click on this wall over here. If I were to go down now to our Tech 1 and choose our preview, you can see here that it's being shown, but it's being shown on the opposite side from where I want to attack. I want to actually come in from this side. For that, we have this option over here showing you from which side I want to actually approach the X wall. As far as the levels go, again, I can roll my wheel on my mouse to bring it down to any level I want, or pick it from the surface over there. Again, over here we also have our repetitive steps. Let's do save and copy now, and we'll change this now from X to Y. Again, I'll create a new geometry, and this time I'll be clicking on this wall over there. And again, if I go to my Tech 1 area, we have our distance, exact same thing over here, up or down. Using our preview, we can see exactly what is needed. Again, bring this up or down as shown over here. I can also change my distance approach. Just by clicking over there, I can move it back over here as well. Now, sometimes this may be on a specific angle, so we can actually rotate our angle over here as well to either side as shown over here and approach it in that particular angle. Let's do save and copy. But before we do that, I like to put this back at 0. And now we'll do save and calculate. Now let's take a look at the simulation. And when we do our simulation, we'll do it on all 3 of these operations. I'll zoom into this area so we can see it a lot better. And we'll do each operation one at a time. Our first operation goes down and touches off on our Z level. Our next one is our X level, and the next one is the Y level as shown here. So now we've measured all 3 of those areas, the X, Y, and Z on this particular corner. For more recordings on SolidCAM Professor, please go to our website www.solidcam.com and look for the tab of SolidCAM Professor. Thank you for joining us on SolidCAM Professor. Take care and have a nice day.